Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Nitin. I'm CEO at Sickle Innovations Private Limited. We are into automating the farm operations, specifically targeting fruits and vegetable crops, horticulture area. So today I'm going to talk about designing a modern pack house, basically for fruits and vegetables. It could be a collection center, a distribution center, or a packing center closer to the your village cluster, or maybe closer to the market where the distribution is going to take place. So we are going to see what all important parameters are there when we have to look into while designing any such pack house. Our major our objective here is to maintain the quality, and also how do we make more profits out of a pack house. Let's begin with the major important points. I'll be talking about the generic guidelines, and then maybe we can get into more details if you have any more questions. Let me just talk a little bit about ourselves. We are almost 11-year-old. As I said, we automate farm operations, starting from harvesting to all the way to grading, sorting, and packing. We have a manufacturing facility in Hyderabad and Ahmedabad, and we have two brands under which we sell our products. One is Hectare, under which we do all this harvesting tools, and under Marsh Harrier we do all the AI powered grading sorting solutions, which are more relevant to a pack house operation. My CTO and myself, when we started, we both are graduate from IIC Bangalore. I'm an ex-ISRO scientist, and Mr. Malik, who looks after our complete business of Active, he is a graduate from IRMA. I'll just talk about the problem statement, what exactly, why the need of pack house arises. You might have heard different data points from different governments, different bodies. Whatever we produce, almost 20 to 40%. So the data varies between 20 to 40% of whatever we produce is actually being lost. And you'll be surprised to know that we are the second largest producer of fruits and vegetables, and we waste as much as 40%. That is almost 42 million tons of produce which is being wasted by our country, and this amount is actually bigger than the third largest producer, which is Brazil, in terms of their production. So we waste more than what the whole Brazil produces. So imagine those kind of wastage if we can, control. So that will be pure profit for us. We can increase our farm income. We can increase farm income of all the pack houses, all the traders. If we can, target how do we reduce this wastage. Okay. Right. Yeah. So a pack house is a facility where fresh produce is received, sorted, graded, packed, and dispatched to market. So this is very simple. Everybody would know that a business of horticulture is like rocket science. Basically, it is a rocketry where everything has to happen very fast. So your produce has to come quickly. The vegetables which are harvested early morning, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, they are quickly coming to a store, small pack house, sorted, graded, then goes to the market, then goes to the ready wala, and then that vendor sells it to the individual household. Imagine the whole process within one day. Everything is going to take place. So our operations have to be very, very fast and have to be very efficient as well. And this is the reason why all these losses are also there. Like if you go a little more further down in this to understand that whatever losses we are occurring, where exactly it is occurring, almost 9 to 10% of these losses are actually happening in the grading sorting, which is where the whole purpose of pack houses comes into. And also, what happens is many times, you have to follow certain food safety quality standards, for which you need to have a standard pack house where you can actually follow all those practices, because from the farm produce might be of different grades, different qualities, but then when we are supplying to a more established value chain where everything has to be match the quality standard, then we'll have to take care of a lot of things. So there, this is very important that we maintain our quality standards as per the market demand where we are actually supplying. And also, especially when we are talking about domestic, even export market, which are like premium, where we can fetch actually extra value. So there, the case of grading becomes very very important. So imagine that the same produce which you're bringing, and if you're selling it just like as a raw without any grading sorting, so you can almost double your profits just by grading sorting properly, selling the premium grades to the premium market, the lower grades to the local market. So this process becomes very important, very relevant to anybody who is there in the business of fruits and vegetables. We'll talk a little more details. How do we actually do this? So when we are talking about designing any pack house, so few things which we have to keep into consideration. First of all, the location. So it is always suggested that wherever the source is there, source means wherever the farms are there. So it has to be very close to the farms. And another, now here one big issue which comes in, then you'll have to go to the, as you're going to the rural areas, so there the road connectivity might not be that good, but we also need to have a very good connectivity with the highways or the good roads, because when the produce is coming quickly, it has to be transported. You need to arrange vehicles. So we have to we have to create a trade-off between closeness to the farms and also closeness to the highways. So we have to find a suitable place which is having both of these uh, uh, criteria matching. And then also, generally what happens is, we have seen in our past also, based on the land availability, we will prepare our project report, we will prepare our project. But what happens is, we always have to keep a scope of future expansion, which is not generally considered, but it is very important. And more the space we have, it is always useful, because sometimes you'll have a lot of vehicles coming in, and in this business you'll have to have a lot of crates. So if you have more space, at least vehicles can stand, at least you can store a lot of crates. So it is always good to have more area. And in future, let's say if we have to expand, it becomes very easy to expand. And then we also have to take care of the product handling, how we are handling. We have to make sure that it does not damage the produce, because uh, uh, this is very important in the case of fruits which are high value. The moment it creates, it receives any mechanical injury, the grade of the fruit will reduce, and hence the price also and the profitability. And then another thing which we have seen, that which are not generally taken care, is efficient movements and layouts. Like, we have to make sure where the fruit is entering, where the fruit is going out of the layout. These are very important aspects. You might not see it as a very important point right now, but it is always good to design the pack house in the beginning itself. You should know where the your vehicles will be unloaded, where the crates will move in, you will take the produce in, and then after all the processing, where the food will go out. And these two spaces have to be separate. So the material coming in and going out should be completely different. They should not be the same passage or same pathway. That is where the main problem will start happening in your operations. And very important part when you are especially doing grading sorting, so you need to have very good light. Lux quality has to be there as per standards, industry standards. uh, let's say you if you are dealing with depending again on your varieties on which you are working. Let's say if you are working in brinjal, you might need to have almost 4000 lux for dark varieties, whereas for the small like where you are not doing very big visual inspection, so 2000 2500 lux light is also enough. So these are the things which you should be, I mean, you should not worry about right now numbers. What you should be worrying about is keeping all these points into consideration while you're designing your pack house. So whoever is your consultant, you should ask them all these points very clearly. Ki where we have to keep this, what should be the lighting, where we will take the power from. Then water and drainage is also very important because you'll be taking in a lot of water, and since you are dealing with the fresh produce, there will be rottage fruit also. So you have to make sure that the rottage fruit keeps going out. Otherwise, the whole place will start stinking. So you have to make sure that that is also kept into consideration. And in case if your processing or your pack house is requiring a lot of water, so you need to have an efficient system to drain it also. So that also has to be designed. And QC is something in our Indian pack houses we don't see happening. But if you are designing a modern pack house, I believe that the quality control has to be kept into place. There has to be dedicated space for quality control people, your supervision team. And generally, such pack houses, what they do is they keep an elevated office from where they can, keep an eye on the whole area, whole operations, because it's a fairly large areas. And if you are at a height, you can always have a better control on the visibility of all the operations. So let's talk about, what are the key operations, or the operations which are adding the value also to the produce, which are very important. And why we are talking about this, why all of a sudden that pack house business has become very glamorous. So the reason for this is because the farm labor is reducing. So whatever sorting, grading, cleaning was happening at the farm and manually, that is not happening. We don't have that many labors. And then food consumption in India is increasing. Per capita requirement of food is increasing. We are moving away from cereal crops. We are moving away from carbohydrate based crops or the food diets. We are moving more towards fruit based diet, meat based diet. So our per capita uh, uh, requirement is increasing, and hence the whole requirement for the quality is also increasing. So that is what the role of the pack house is coming. And what all activities you will receive first. Let's say, I'll take an example of, let's say, lady fingers. So okra. So it comes from the farms. So it will come into maybe sometime in bags or in the crates. Once you receive it, then it has to be sorted because there'll be a lot of over ripened or okras which will not be sold, or like the size wise they might be very big or very small. So those have to be removed. It has to be cleaned also. Sometimes it might rain. So because of rain, if the produce is wet, it is going to you cannot send it to the longer distances. So you have to make sure that it is dry. So you have to you can apply some drying methods also. There are some drying tunnels which are available which can dry your produce. And then active grading also. Let's say if tomatoes are coming, you want to grade them and send it to different market. For example, if they are more ripened, so the more ripened one can be sold immediately to the local market or the nearby market. And the ones which are more yellowish or greenish, which are not fully ripened, they can be sent to the longer market. So that active grading has to take place immediately, a very fast and very efficient system. And then packaging and labeling. If you are packing it for let's say for the market or for a third party player who wants to do individual retail packing or labeling. So that also has to take place, and then immediately it has to be taken out. So I'll talk a little bit about grading, which has been our strength also, and which we believe is the most important part of the whole value addition in this pack house operation. And this is we call it a primary processing. Primary processing means it is the first stage of processing where you are touching the fruit. And you are removing the unwanted one, or you are grading them based on different parameters. So we can grade them on different parameters on based on color. Let's say I give an example of tomatoes. If they are fully ripened, they will be more reddish. They can be sent to only local markets, consumed in the local market. You cannot send it to very far markets. If they are less or half ripened, they can be taken to very far markets as well. So that color based grading can take place. Let's say you want to do size based grading. For example, in mangoes you need to do or I'll take an example of tomatoes itself. So in tomatoes, large, medium, small, three sizes can be created, and you can do the grading based on weight. It depends with different commodities. For example, weight based grading is done for pomegranates. For example, pomegranates, different weights, dragon fruits. So different grades will fetch different prices. And sometimes what happens is market demand is also there for different fruits. For example, if I'm talking about oranges, so the smaller fruit might go to Kolkata Mandi, but the larger fruit might go to Ahmedabad Mandi, where it is more acceptable. So that is why the case of grading becomes very very important, and how you grade them, which parameter. Then you can also grade them based on external defects. For example, if there are defects on the fruit, which are like visual defects, but the quality is good, but you don't get good price in the market. If visually they are not looking good, if there any defects are there, rusting is there. Let's say in case of apples, if there are any pinholes, or if any other damage is there. So even though the quality of food might not be bad, the nutrition value, but since the visual looks are different, so they have to be differentiated. They have to be removed, so that they can be sold separately at different prices. So if they are mixed with the good lot, what will happen is the whole lot's price will be reduced. When people will see, okay, it has few parts which are which few fruits which are not good, so the quality, so the prices go down. And also sometimes like internal defects are there. For example, in case of mangoes, you have internal rottage is there, or you have spongy tissues. So those can be separated with the different technologies. So we have different technologies now available which can do grading based on different parameters and with the different capacities. We talking about 1 ton per hour to all the way to 15 ton per hour. We have different solutions. So depending on the requirement of the pack house, the system can be designed, and then this value addition becomes very important point in any pack house where the grading sorting is taking place. So I'll just give you one example. Let's say, just last year we sold some 30 we grading machines for apples for small pack houses, very small pack houses. And these machines are like costing maybe about 20 lakh or so. An individual machine can pack on these machines. The farmers packed about 20,000 boxes in a year, in like 3 months time. So if they packed 20,000 boxes, for each box when they packed with the graded fruit. So what happens is when using our machine, apple farmers could grade their produce based on color and size, And when the whole box looks exactly same, and especially when the color grading was taking place, so they could get extra, 200 rupees on each box. Imagine if they're packing 20,000 boxes, they could make 40 lakh rupees extra per annum just by, adding that value of color grading. So you can imagine, what kind of value additions can be made depending on your commodity, what kind of, market you are dealing with. Uh, so the typical, let's say, how does it look? A typical pack house. This is an image from Apida. They have given a lot of different governments. They give different layouts. This is not something which is fixed that you have to follow this only, but based on your commodity, based on the capacity you're doing, based on the area where you are, your requirement of the pack houses will change. Because let's say, for example, in case of oranges or kinnus, the size of the pack house has to be huge. It has to be really big because the intake of this fruit is very big because it is big in size also, and the capacities at which it has to be run is also high because the processing which takes place, the economics of the processing only comes out when you run it at a higher capacity. Let's say when you're doing waxing, drying, so it takes a lot of efforts to put up such machinery, and those machineries are very expensive. They're very big in size, and the return of investment only comes when you run it on a higher capacity. In case of citrus fruit, but let's say if somebody is doing strawberries, which is not very big fruit, smaller in the size but very high value, huge. Individual strawberry is very expensive, right? So in that case, maybe you will need a very smaller space where you can do. So the pack house design, size, it completely varies based on your um, requirement, based on your commodity on which you are dealing. And then the last part which comes is the packaging. So the here the goal is that the what kind of packaging you're doing to reduce the losses before it is consumed. So you have to make sure that after the pack house it leaves. So till the time it is reaching the consumer. So what kind of packaging can be done at a typical pack house? You can do consumer packing where, like, smaller package, 300 gram, 1 kg, 500 gram can be done. Net bags or PP bags can be done. Let's say if you're doing for transportation where you're sending it to different mandis where it will be sold loose, so it could be in bags, or generally it is done in crates, 20 kg crates where you send the produce and then you stack those crates together so that there is no damage between them. And sometimes you use pallets also, which are like 1 meter by 1.2 meter, where you stack all these crates and then you move the pallet itself. So depending on your produce, these things will change. And generally nowadays crates have become very standard, where most of the produce is being transported by crates only, because they are cheaper, and you can use them multiple times, and it's very lightweight, also easy to carry. And then when you're designing a pack house, it is also very, very important that you consider which scheme under which you are going to apply, because there are a lot of subsidy schemes which are available, which can give you capital subsidy for setting up a pack house. If you're, it is a small pack house, I think PMFME scheme is the best scheme, where 35 lakh rupees project can be sanctioned under this, and you get maximum subsidy of 10 lakh rupees. So 35% direct subsidy comes into this. This is the smallest, and for small pack houses, it is good. But if people are going for a larger pack houses, so where the project costs are in few crores, let's say 1 crore, 2 crore, 3 crore, where you have a lot of different bodies, like National Horticulture Board is there, which has scheme. Apida has a lot of schemes. NABARD has some scheme for godowns and pack houses where they give subsidies up to 50%. And then there are a lot of different states also which have each individual wherever state you are living in. So in that state horticulture board also gives different schemes based on the commodities which are more suitable in that climate and which are more in the numbers there. And there is another very interesting agriculture infrastructure fund, AIF, and which is a complementary scheme which can be as an add-on. It can be added to any subsidy scheme which you have. Basically, AIF is nothing but it can give you a collateral-free loan through the same bank you are applying. So if you ask any, let's say if you are dealing with Punjab National Bank, you go there and you tell them ki you want to apply, you want to build a pack house under AIF. So they will guide you about what is the scheme. So basically, it is a collateral-free loan scheme where you can get loans without any collateral. And there is a good thing that there is a subsidy on the interest as well. So there is a interest subvention of 3%. So and maximum interest which can be applied on this is only 9%. So if anybody wants to set up a pack house, they can get this loan at only 6% after the subsidy subvention. So imagine with this just 6%, you can get a loan which is collateral free, and then you can also get a capital subsidy on the pack house which you are building. So it's a good opportunity. It's a good time in India. We are having to, if somebody wants to get into this business. Yeah, so I'll just stop here and I'll wait for any questions. If there are any questions, I think I'm done for this.
Thank you very much, sir, for a wonderful presentation. I will take up the questions now. In the meantime, can you please stop sharing the screen, sir, so that we can see your full video?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll move to the questions now, sir. How do you balance traditional farming practices with modern mechanization in your solution?
Uh, Traditional, see, these are two different steps. I think the farming is different and then the pack house business is different. So these are two stages. So once that farming take place, I mean, once you grow something, then you bring it to a pack house. So there, if the question is from this perspective that the same person who is doing a traditional farming, how he can benefit from the modern pack house, that I can answer is a good way to do it is the best value which you can take out is through grading and sorting. Let's say if whatever you're producing, if you are not able to control on your produce, let's say few fruits might be of a different sizes. Maybe some trees are not getting nutrition, or they are not getting any water, or they are not getting enough sunlight. So there the produce might be little weaker on those trees, and other part of your orchard might be giving good fruits. So once everything comes together, and if you're trying to sell it together, your good value, high valued produce is also going in the lower price. So in that case, at least what you can do is you can do the grading sorting. You can sell both the produces separately. That is what the biggest value addition which can be done using these modern pack houses.
Okay. What type of modern equipments are commonly used in a fresh produce pack house?
Most of these things I have highlighted, but one is that pallet trucks are there to carry the pallets, to carry the crates, and then you have modern grading, sorting equipment, waxing equipment, washing equipment, which are like more automatic nowadays. And now we are also coming up with the automatic fresh produces packing, where the packing can also be done automatically.
Okay. Uh, what are the hygiene standards that must be maintained in a pack house, sir?
Hygiene standards, see, there are a few practices which are outlined by APIDA, and also by MIDH guidelines are there, which have to be followed. But it purely depends on which market you are serving. And of course, any fruit or any pack house which is dealing with the fresh produce, it has to be absolutely very serious about maintaining the hygiene levels, because they will be seeing a lot of rottage, because they'll be taking out all the rottage fruit, and immediately it has to be cleared off from the pack house. And those are, like, more, I would say, general principle which have to be followed. But more specific guidelines are already outlined by APIDA as well as by MIDH, which can be found on their website.
Okay. How should the facility be designed to comply with the FSSAI or global GAP requirements?
FSI's role largely does not come into a pack house business until otherwise any processing is taking place, and if we are directly dealing with the consumer. So generally, all the pack houses are basically making a bridge between producer and the trader. Generally, in general, and otherwise, FSI's guidelines or their certification is not very difficult nowadays. It's very easy, and which can be done in a very smaller time, and with much less efforts.
Okay. What is the estimated cost of building a modern pack house per square foot or per ton of produce handled?
This is a very difficult question to answer, because it purely depends on what commodity we are talking about. Because in few commodities, machinery is very expensive. You need more space. But in a ballpark, I can tell you a smaller pack house is starting from 30 to 35 lakh rupees. One can start building a pack house, and a larger, fairly large, which are, I'm talking about the smaller pack houses which can do. Processing of up to 5 to 6 ton per day. And if we talk about little larger pack houses, which can do, let's say, in the numbers of 50 to 60 tons per day. So that kind of pack houses might cost, between 2 to 5 crores, depending on what kind of machineries we are getting into, what
Okay.
level of automation we are opting.
Okay. How does the location of a pack house influence its design and operational effectiveness?
Yeah, it's very important point key where you are placed. For example, if you are placed somewhere in the northern part of the country, in the hill, so where you don't have too much of flat area, and it's very cold. So you have to design in a way that you get more sunlight inside, or how do you keep it warm. And if it is in a region where it is pretty hot, so there you have to make sure that your heights are more. You have more height of the building, so that it does not gets heated up too fast. So these are the things which you have to take care when you are designing any such modern pack house.
Okay. Sir, what inspired you to start Sickle Innovation and what gap in Indian agriculture were you aiming to fill?
So my biggest motivation was when we see a sickle, for example, sickle or a plow. So these are the technologies which are, I would not say 100 year or 1,000 year old. They are like few lakh year old. The plow is something which we see with Lord Krishna's elder brother Balram, right? He carries a plow. That happened in Dwapar Yug. That is like about 8 lakh years old story. So imagine, we are talking about the same product produces same products which are even today they are being used, and we believe we need to upgrade them. We need to update farmers with the latest technology. Otherwise, they cannot survive. The profitability in farming cannot be made if you if you do not give them efficient solutions, efficient system, so that they can reduce their costs. So that has been our main motive. All our products are designed to make sure that farmers start making profit in the first season itself. It is a very farmer centric organization which you are building.
Okay. What are some of the most impactful innovations your company has introduced for small and marginal farmers?
I mean, as I said, most of our products are, catering to fruits and vegetable growers, and we are solving problems using mechanization. For example, harvesting of mangoes. When we started our company, we were seeing online, there were a lot of products which are very generic in nature. We say there is a fruit harvesting device, but every fruit has to be harvested separately. And imagine we are the second largest producer of fruits in the world. And we don't even have a proper solution to harvest fruits. We are using some sort of hooks to pull fruits. It's a very disturbing fact to know. And this is why we started working on harvesting tools. And I think our biggest strength has been all those harvesting tools. We have a different tool for individual fruit, and the way the fruits are harvested safely without even any need of climbing the tree. You can do it from the ground, and you maintain the quality of the produce as well, and you save on the labor as well.
Okay. What are the biggest challenges you see in India's post-harvest infrastructure, and how can startup like yours help solve them?
In the post-harvest domain, I think there is a lot of work to be done. As I said, like 40% fruit is being wasted, and the value of that 62 of that 40% which is being wasted is a huge number. And if we can save that amount, no matter who is saving, if it is farmer, trader, or whoever is saving, so that value unlocking, with that value extra income which is going into this whole I would say value chain, that is going to boost the economy for everybody. And I believe with the kind of technology intervention we are bringing, we are converting a lot of industrial technology, which has been very expensive, very complex technologies. We are bringing them to individual farmers. So when we take those technologies to the farm gate, when we take the value addition closer to the farm, so we believe we are going to add lot of value to the farmer's life. So the quality of life is going to increase. Imagine a grading sorting. Let's say if I'm going to a ready wala to buy tomatoes, uh, if I go with the first one, I'll pick the best let's say tomatoes. I'm doing the grading sorting, so making that profit. If that grading sorting can be done all the way taken back to the farmer who is producing, so there itself he does the grading sorting, and then he sends to different parts, different prices, so that value addition which as a consumer I was getting, that will be transferred to the farmer. That is what our aim is. That is what we are trying to do.
Okay. How supportive have government schemes or incubators been in helping you grow your business, sir?
Yeah, incubators have been definitely very helpful. A lot of schemes were there. We have got few grants also from government, and right now we are in a stage that where we have I would say graduated from the startup journey. Now we are more of a full-fledged company, and I would say the government intervention in capital subsidy has been good in recent few years. There are a lot of capital subsidies which is encouraging for the farmers or individual traders to get into this packhouse business, and that is helping us also to grow.
Okay. What policies or reforms do you think could accelerate agricultural mechanization for small farmers in India, sir?
So I believe if we can reduce the tax burden on the farmers in the form of, let's say, GST. we are talking about 18% GST on our machines, which is okay for us. We are selling it to any trader or anybody is fine. But for the farmer when they are buying, so since they are working in a commodity which is out of the scope of GST, so they will never be able to claim the GST which they are paying uh, as their capital subsidy, or so as their capital investment. For example, if the machine they are buying worth 1 crore, 18 lakh rupees is going as a tax. So that is something which they will never be able to recover. So I believe that if there is some tax relief for GST credit scheme for individual farmers or anybody who's working in this fresh produce, who's not able to take that credit, somehow if any mechanism can be created, I think that will be very helpful for everybody.
Okay, I have completed the questions from our side, sir. We have few participants here. If they have any questions, they can unmute their mic and ask. I presume they don't have any questions, sir. Thank you very much. We have now completed the round of questions. On behalf of agricultureinformation.com, we like to thank Mr. Nitin Gupta for the talk and for answering the questions. This meeting will now be closed.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.